this is a demo from Andrew Klein. We're going to take a look at sculpting a shoe. Here's the end result of the shoe that we're going to be looking at. And in the course of this demo, we're going to look at several features in this. I'm going to start off with a low poly shoe, and you'll see here I'm going to have to divide it a couple of times. When I do that, though, the laces kind of separate and change size on their own. And what I want to do here is make a new poly group, and then group split it using the subtool feature so that I can come in and work with the shoe separately, so I'm not actually affecting the laces. And so now that I have two separate subtools with this, I can actually come in and move the laces around without moving the shoe. I can move the shoe around without moving the laces, etc. And so to do that, what I had done is I had gone to the tool palette and into the subtool palette for poly groups, chose auto groups, and then in the subtool palette for the tool palette, I chose group split. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start detailing some of the features by drawing out masks. And with these masks, I'll be able to inflate. There's the mask for the toe. Here's a mask for the heel. And now looking around, I'm going to grab the standard brush and just kind of paint on a mask for the top of the ankle section of this boot. And working my way around, just going to continue kind of painting this mask on. Now I'm going to paint a mask down the back side here for kind of the stripe along the back. And doing this, I'm holding down Control. While you hold down Control while painting or by dragging, you can drag out a selection for a mask, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Want to unpaint this a little bit, so I'm holding down Control and Alt. That is sort of undoing my mask painting that I kind of messed up along the side. There we go, looking pretty solid. Now I'm going to paint these two little racing stripe type things down the side. There we go, that side's looking good. Let's go do the other side. Alright, solid. So now that we have the mask, we can take this mask and invert it by control dragging a selection outside of the model. And I could use something like the Move tool to move it out, but I don't think that's a very effective way of doing this. Instead, I'm going to go into the Deformation sub-palette, and I'm going to choose the Inflate modifier. You'll see here by cranking up the Inflate, it bounces everything out. Well, now that I have the shoe masked out and those parts done, I want to come in and I want to inflate these upper sections, which give ankle support to the boot. There we go. And let's do one more just below that. And I'm using the clay brush to do this because I feel the clay brush is a very soft, round brush that gives me a very good profile in developing these forms. And one more there. There we go. And I'm doing this while the mask is still on, so I don't have to worry about kind of overpainting some of the other edges. And kind of doing this with the mask on really gives me a lot of freedom to just sculpt very, very fast on this. Well, let's remove the mask, and our next step here is going to be to kind of come in and soften up some of these little edges that the mask might have left kind of hard for us. So I'm holding down Shift to soften some of that out with the smooth brush. And then I'll come back in with the clay brush again and kind of start up some of these little waves that come from the wrinkles in the leather part of the boot. And once I've got the clay brush kind of giving me the base of these forms, and I've got it roughed out pretty far, what I'm going to do is switch to the pinch brush and turn on the brush mod, the brush modifier. And I'm going to now start to pinch together the fabric while moving it out. That's what the brush modifier does. That's going to give me a little bit of a sharper profile to some of these fabric creases. Even that I don't think takes it quite far enough, so what we're going to do in just a second here is jump to another step where we're going to get the flatten brush. And I like to flatten the top side of the creases to kind of push them down as if gravity's pulling on them. And I like to hold down Shift and kind of soften out, smooth out the bottom of the creases. It's a great way to kind of get good wrinkles in that don't feel like they're just too rounded in profile. So we're softening all of this out, flattening it out, and it's a good look at these fabric waves. Okay, so now we're looking at the next step here, which is that I want to come in and use the pinch brush to kind of deform these a little bit. I'm holding down Alt, which is going to pinch inwards on this, kind of giving me a Z sub. And here I can start to wrinkle up these little inflated, puffy sections of fabric around the ankle supports. And I'm kind of cutting into each of these little bits. I'll do it on the other side as well. There we go. And I kind of want to do it inside the shoe here also. This is another one of those little puffy supports. Holds on the ankle, so I'm going to kind of indent in there with Z sub and the pinch brush with the brush modifier turned on all the way. I'm going to kind of work my way around this laces section also. Okay, now it's time to add a little bit more detail, and what I want to do is experiment around with the stitching brushes that we have, and I'm going to switch to my own stitch here. I don't really like the X stitch that it has. The stitch has the lazy mouse feature turned on as automatic feature. And with this, I'm able to actually just very easily drag out this stitch alpha shape that I've created in between each of these puffy sections. So it looks like this has been sewn in and sewn together. And I'm going to do this on each of these sides. And between each of these sections. And then I'm going to use it also to kind of put on some of the stitching for the other parts, like the leather heel. Kind of bring this up and around. Drawing out each of these little stitches is just really, really easy. It's just, clicking and dragging it out. The lazy mouse stroke and the alpha kind of does all of the work for you. I'll draw some stitching down this back leather section where it connects and sews on. And then across the top as well. And wherever these sections need to connect, I can draw on the stitching, which gives a much more lifelike transition. I'll go around here on the front of the boot. And if you mess up, you can just hold down Shift and erase out a section, as I just did. There we go, that's looking pretty solid. Now we can kind of do the toe section. And along the front here, and then down along the front of the toes. Now we'll just do the section to connect on where these little stripes go. One on each side. We'll get very close here in the middle because you don't want the two to kind of overlap right next to each other. There we go. And one last side, and then we've got this pretty much done. There we go. Let's do it along the bottom as well. Might as well here. Connect that up. We've got something to seal the sole of the shoe onto the rest of the boot. And there we go. Next up here, I want to look at detailing the bottom of the sole. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw a mask by holding down Control over the top part so I can't accidentally paint any of that. I'm going to rotate down below, and once I've got a good angle, I'm going to enter the Projection Master by going to Projection Master in the top left corner. And here I can use all of my 2D brushes. And you see I'm kind of going through, and with the line stroke, which is only available in 2D in the Projection Master, I can draw out these lines. Or with the grid stroke and the circle alpha, I can draw out all of these little circles here to define the tread of the shoe. Draw it out just big enough because it's got to move out just a little bit to get it. There we go. And I leave the Projection Master, and that's my boot. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed.